10 months ago, a careless driver totaled this beloved C5 Corvette. The insurance company took it away from the owner, deeming it a total loss. But we flew halfway across the country, threw some parts at it, and drove it 1,500 miles to the beautiful state of Texas, to where it now sits back on the road. Not only that, but we are now scheduled to take it to LS Fest to compete in just a few days. Yeah, we are nowhere near ready yet. Honestly, we could probably run the car as it sits today, but that would just be no fun. First thing we're tackling is when this thing was in an accident. There's a gaping hole right beneath that duct tape, which has been gracefully holding this fender together. We have new rear carbon fiber wide body fenders. In addition, once we knock out those rear quarters, we have really powerful brakes from a C6 Z06. And with those new brakes, I wanted to have one final set-off of our really old stock brakes. Oh, the stock brakes aren't that bad. This car doesn't weigh anything. I think the new ones on here just might like separate the chassis from the body. I gotta figure out what to do with these tires. Rolling them around is getting annoying. We have so much to get done today. Woo! What do you think of those big boys?
Almost lined up with the fat bottom fenders.
They are noisy though. We have calipers, rotors, coilovers, fenders, and a whole lot more. But we got help today. Help today. I think what we're gonna do first, tear it down, and I'm thinking since we have coilovers and we're tearing the brake stuff off, get the coilovers in there while it's all apart. We have calipers, rotors, and then we'll tighten up the sway bar. Depending on how far we get today, I'll probably do the fenders tonight, just because that's gonna take, you put it on, tinker with it, take it off, put it on, shave it, take it off. Yes. You wanna hang from that.
Oh, yes. There you go. All right, see you later.
So here is my entire salary on the floor. So we have BC Racing Coilovers going on all four corners of the C5, cross-drilled rotors, C-Sync Z06 calipers, 6 piston in the front, 4 piston in the rear, some brand new AMS oil brake fluid, some new brake lines, all the hardware, new pads, some new lug nuts going on, as well as some new end links on the front end. Last week, we installed everything in the rear, the new end links, the new larger sway bar, and in the front, we also have a Hotchkis more beefy sway bar. Needless to say, a big investment sitting on the floor and going on the salvage totaled Corvette, which makes complete sense. Thanks again, Dad, for hanging out with me.
Yeah, I won't change oil today.
You guys missed that one. Did you unplug the, what's it called? The air drain?
Air drain, what's that?
That little...
Oh, at the top?
Yeah.
Nah, it'll...
It's not.
Oh,
unplug it, unplug it.
That one.
You need to go to my toolbox set of components. It's got all this stuff. So since we have the car up in the air, we're gonna tear everything out and go first with the coilover shock. Once the coilover's in there, we're gonna proceed to the brakes. Once the brakes are in there and set, we're gonna tighten up all the sway bar end links, all that fun stuff. Make sure our exhaust is still on and good to go. Man, that thing sounds so incredible. I'm remembering that there's this massive leaf spring. We're gonna pull off the transverse leaf spring. Once that's out, we should be able to drop this lower control arm as low as we need to get the shock out and a new coilover in there. Bolt everything back up with our brand new shiny brakes. I mean, just for fun, just look. Yeah. Goodbye, shock. world. This guy just asked to pull the training wheels off of his bike, and this guy pulled them off without telling me. And then now he's... You're kidding me! Look at him go! And suddenly he can almost ride a bike.
I'm okay.
Good job.
Good job, dude. Hey, go get a Band-Aid. Probably not the wisest pebble driveway, no shirt.
Yeah, this is the worst driveway in the world.
You're making good time, old man.
Yeah, like old school, man. One thing at a time.
Rear end's pretty much good to go. We're gonna torque everything down once everything is on there. Coilover is in, driver and passenger side. Sway bar is straightened out. End links are just sitting there for now. And we discovered the front end tie rods are just complete trash. But we're gonna go ahead and replace these finally since we are taking this apart. AutoZone's got 2 of them. Coilovers in the front, that means the leaf springs gotta come out. Once we get those in, then we're gonna start playing around with these blue beauties. Look at the difference in size.
Sorry, camera.
Making good progress. The rear end's pretty much set to go. So we've torqued everything to spec. We went back with a paint pen and marked all the bolts that are torqued. So if there's any issues down the road, we can actually track down if it was torqued by me or not. Now we have to deal with this. So this is the front tie rod. That is probably the original tie rod 20 years ago that came with this car. And we're gonna run the AutoZone and grab 2 more because both of these are absolutely torn to shreds. Tie rod ends are gonna be replaced. That leaf spring was a pain in the butt to pull out, but it's time for these guys to hit that car. Yeah, I trust the experts. Chain that. Yeah. Ran out of time last night, so we packed everything in. We had a storm roll in, so we threw in the Trail Boss and the ZL1. Left the Makaha runner to die, but fortunately, it didn't hit us very hard. And we did get all of our coilover suspension, everything torqued on all 4 corners. But now's kind of the fun part. Getting these coilovers in was fairly involved. A lot of this stuff had to come off or get disconnected, but it was a fun project. There's very few things I enjoy more than sitting hours on hours wrenching with my dad. So special thanks to my dad for helping me get to this point. We have BC Racing Coilovers on all 4 corners. In addition, we have brand new Hotchkis Sway Bars, brand new end links, and new tie rod ends on the front end. And in the rear, we actually loosened up and straightened out the sway bar because when I initially installed it, it wasn't straight and it didn't straighten out by itself. We got that straight, it looks good. The coilovers look amazing. We're probably gonna have to dial these things in over time. I believe at manufacturer's spec, the car's gonna be an inch lower than it was, and you can adjust it from there. You can also adjust the dampening on them, but I think for now, we're just gonna leave it at whatever spec it came with and see where we go from there. Pulled it back off. We also have our Employee of the Month. Congratulations. Yeah. Now we pulled this back off because the lower retainer clip, it seemed like it was bent in a funky direction, so I pulled them back out and bent the corners back into the caliper because those corners were rubbing up against that rotor we're now spinning it. So hopefully it's gonna take care of that issue. Everything's faster the second time, right? And bingo, no rubbing. All right, that worked. So those little corners right here that were rubbing. What color?
Blue.
Blue. What a beast. Brand new coilovers at all four corners, new calipers, new rotors, C6 Z06, big old boys. And as you saw installed in our last video, Billy Boat, BBE exhaust, massive quad 4 tip. Even with that, we still are a long way from finish. We still have to bleed the brakes at all four corners. On top of that, it is time to rip off this duct tape, which has been so gracefully holding on for over 10 months now. Man, I did a good job with this. Because it's time for our wide body carbon fiber fenders that are going on the rear quarters here. This one's gonna be fun. Let's get back to it. We're missing quite a bit of the Corvette. Yeah, it's a gaping hole right there. The good news is the majority of this quarter panel is being replaced. It's going to take care of the majority of that, but I did forget the bumper also took quite a bit of damage. We have most of the pieces, so we're going to get a plastic welder on the inside and patch some of these kind of back together, because structurally you need this piece to hold the whole bumper cap up against the car. I'm gonna have to get creative on how I'm gonna cover that up. In addition, we do have some damage to the fiberglass tub, so we're gonna patch that with some fiberglass Bondo to put this thing back on there. But this piece, this is what I'm worried about. Looks a little better. It's not good, it's definitely bad, but it's not as horrible as it was. What I used was a plastic welder and welded with staples the panels kind of back together. After that, I got a thin layer of fiberglass Bondo and did a thin layer on the inside, just kind of hold everything together. Hopefully it does the trick, but like I've mentioned, we're missing a piece of that puzzle. We're gonna have to figure out and get creative how to hide and mask some of this stuff. And I also forgot on the front side, when the car got hit, the whole suspension broke and the tire folded inward and did a number on all of this fiberglass. So same thing over here, just straighten it out. You could put a little bit of fiberglass over the top. We're gonna go ahead and sand that back down, hit it with a little bit of paint match, maybe some black, just to get it back together before we put our new fenders on. Now this is gonna do for now until we fix it properly. We're never fixing it properly. Since we're waiting on Bondo to cure, I'm gonna get my wife out here to help me bleed these brakes. We are moving right along. All four corners are bled, the brakes are good to go, and we've just kind of laid the carbon fiber panel here just to see how close the panel gaps are. Fitment is surprisingly good. One thing we're gonna have to adjust and try to figure out how to close this door gap just a little bit. The back end seems pretty tight, so I think there is some room to pull it forward a tad. I think that's gonna be fine versus the massive duct tape job we had earlier. Plus, that flare. Oh, it looks so good. Oh, I love this so much. One side completely done. I'm kind of impressed with my arts and crafts project going on here. So we have 3 different pieces that have been glued and welded, plastic welded back together. And all it's missing is our one missing piece. Just like any family puzzle, we're missing the final piece. We are gonna mask this in a certain way in a future video, don't worry, but that's gonna be like that for now. As far as that stance goes, ooh mama, heck. Yeah, it looks so good. That rotor takes up the entire face of the wheel. That looks ridiculously awesome. I'm stoked. As for the fitment of the carbon fiber panel, par for the course. This is what I expected. I was actually really happy to see body lines on the rear bumper. However, when you come to the door, this is about what you get. There is quite a significant gap. Fortunately, the inside of that is a gloss black, so it kind of masks in quite a bit. Lastly, we did run a spacer in the rear. Don't bust my coconuts. These are the safest spacers that you can run for a C5. I am confident we'll be just fine. Billet aluminum, one piece. They are absolutely solid. And they put that rear tire perfectly flush. I cannot wait to get this thing on the ground. However, we have an entire second side to do, and it's 11 p.m. By the way, the city just approved today our shop. We have the permit. We're good to go on our shop as of today. There's a lot going on. It's a good day. Here we go. So much work. This car is really low. Now the BC coilovers were supposed to drop the car about 1 inch. And it definitely did that and potentially more because this thing is like on the ground. Here we go. Now the alignment's gonna be off for sure. Got a lot of little things to fine tune over the next 5 days. All right, the alignment's definitely off. But she drives straight, just the steering wheel's all cockeyed. All right, brakes. Ooh, these brakes feel good. Try the brakes. Brakes feel really good. Suspension feels solid. These coilovers are sweet. But the car is so low. It's so low. I had a lowered car in high school. This is taking me back. Just from the leaf springs to the coilovers, my goodness, the car doesn't lean like a boat anymore. This is darty, it darts. This is gonna do good at LS Fest. Great little power, but she's gonna handle. So now comes the boring process of bedding the brakes. So I'm gonna spend the next 10 minutes or so bedding the brakes, making sure they're good to go. We'll head back to paradise. These new brakes are insane. Oh my God. Get a little bit of heat in these brakes. Wow. Yeah. Woo, 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 woo. That's a win. Man, that was a lot of work, and we have a ton more to do, but that's gonna do it for today's video. We got the car back on the ground. It is operational, but my goodness, we have a lot of fine tuning to do on this thing. I think it is a bit too low. I'm gonna see if those BC coilovers can actually come up just a bit. This is gonna be absolutely destroyed on the backcountry roads out here in Texas, but as for LS Fest prep, I think it's going pretty well. This thing handles so much better. The brakes are absolutely phenomenal. Our fenders look good. Fitment is par for the course for aftermarket wide body fenders. I say we did pretty good today. And by today, I mean over the last like 7 days and 2 sleepless nights, and the car's back on the ground. We're good. That's gonna do it for today, guys. I'm exhausted. We'll catch you in a few days for our next video. Until that day comes, as always, y'all take care. Ahui ho. Aloha. Thank you, brother.
Let's go! I'm gonna be a very poor man after this.